Hi, and welcome to the Saturday Night Sleepover podcast. I'm your host, Charlie, and I started this podcast because I'm good at two things. One, making friends, and two, telling stories. So you get to participate in that by listening. Welcome to the sleepover. It's Saturday night. Maybe. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. We're doing the newscast today, so we're with Elena.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back for another newscast Saturday.
Yay! We have always done newscasting from like in real life, so this is the first time we're doing it separated. So, everybody, send us good vibes.
Yeah, we've already had our troubles in the beginning.
And everybody knows how I feel about Riverside. I always tell my listeners, if you ever hear me like advertising for Riverside, you know I've sold out. Because I have had a love-hate relationship with this software for a long time now.
We're going to talk about some love-hate relationships or toxic relationships in this newscast
Yeah,
today, too.
foreshadowing.
Yes. Um,
All right, should we get started? Do you
yeah.
want to start with JoAnn's?
Yes. So, you brought up how all the JoAnn's craft stores will be closing. They will not all of them.
Not all of them.
500 of the 850 locations will be closing, and this really sucks. I've gone to JoAnn's a couple times.
JoAnn's, I love JoAnn's, and I think that my target audience listeners also love JoAnn's because a lot of them are a lot like me. But the map that I looked at indicated most of the closures would be happening in larger cities. 21 of the 61 stores to close in California are going to be in the LA area. So when I read that statistic, the thing I thought of was I would assume that the correlation is that in more rural areas, people are doing more crafts
Mm-hmm.
because in cities there's a lot more things to do. So I'm guessing that the stores in rural areas are doing better. And so the quote from the JoAnn's representative that I found was, after a careful analysis of store performance and future strategic fit for the company, determined which stores would remain operating as usual at this time. So that's my analysis of the situation. Is that like in bigger cities, there's less people doing crafts, so they're closing down the chain stores in larger cities more frequently than they are in the smaller towns. But
I would imagine too that sometimes whenever people think of a big city and like heavy populated, they might feel like they need to have like 5 stores there.
yeah,
When really they could thrive off of one or two. 500, I mean, they're only going to leave 350 stores open across the United States. But it's also crazy to think that there were almost 1,000 JoAnn's across the United States. That sounds like too many. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I mean, we live in the place of Hobby Lobby, but Hobby Lobby is not everywhere. So we
Mhm.
have like 5 Hobby Lobbies in our area, and the Hobby Lobbies of the rest of Greater America is JoAnn. So that's where everybody's going for their craft supplies.
Yeah.
And they have the
Yeah.
best coupons. And I will miss the coupons for
Yes.
sure.
Well, here in Fayetteville, is the one in Fayetteville staying? Did you happen to?
Yes, I
Okay.
looked up the ones that are closing. I think are in Fort Smith and Little Rock mostly.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say I go to the one here in Fayetteville quite often. It's close to where I live. But there's also a Hobby Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
But I typically only go to the Hobby Lobby in Rogers. And I grew up going to Hobby Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Yeah.
But also Walmart has a strong, hold on that crafty area.
They do.
People can get all types of what fabrics and stuff that you could find at JoAnn's, but like you said, the quality I would say is different,
Mm-hmm.
and also the
Yep.
coupons and the prices, the discounts.
Yep.
um but JoAnn's isn't the only place that has announced closings. Party City has also announced a bunch of closings. I think the ones that are staying here are locally owned.
Mm-hmm.
So the one in Fayetteville, and the one in Little Rock are here to stay.
I walked past the one in Rogers yesterday and it is shut down.
Yeah.
It's like there
Yes.
was almost nothing left in the whole store.
Yeah, and that's sad because I like these little niche little, stores that just sell just certain items for people. And I think it really shows the changing of the times,
Hmm. Yeah.
People really buy online quite often. I know I consume as a mom to a toddler and going to be a mom again. I do so much ordering online.
Hmm. Yep.
Um,
Because you can
I
get exactly what you want from online.
Mhm,
And you
mhm.
might be able to get what you want. But the cool thing about having the store right there is you will get it right then. You have to plan
Exact
ahead if you're going to be ordering online.
Yeah. Well, even just like, to like for me, whenever it comes to groceries and sometimes some of those crafty things, I can get them the same day now.
Yeah.
Walmart delivery, and to me, I look at that cost benefit where it's like, okay, do I want to spend an extra $5 to get this within the next 3 hours?
We literally did that yesterday. I was like, we need to go grocery shopping, but I don't want to leave the house. It's too cold outside.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, it's too cold. I got too many kids. I got two car seats. It's ghetto now. I do not want to be out there. Do not. If I don't have to be out there, trust me, I don't. But I do still love to go into stores
Hmm.
and see that. How did you feel about the JoAnn's closing?
I'm sad about JoAnn's closing because I grew up going to JoAnn's. My mom taught me how to quilt and do all the crafts. And so to me, it's like a bit of nostalgia. It's just like fading away. I won't be able to like do that with the next generation of my family. And so that makes me a little sad. But I do have Hobby Lobby here where I live. So while I live here, I'm safe and I could still do crafts. But um, it makes me sad that um, that part of like going to the store and picking out the kind of craft you want to do, that makes me sad.
Aw. Well, if anyone has any good, stories or just like those little things that they remember about going to JoAnn's and they know that a local JoAnn's around them is closing, I'd love them to comment and let us know, the effect of these big boxes closing. And then we also are coming back from Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
Has it been a week or two now?
Yeah,
I
well,
lost track
we're
of time.
recording this. I guess we usually in the beginning we're
Yes.
recording this on um it's February 17th already. We're halfway done with February somehow. And this will come out this Saturday. So it's Monday right now. Saturday is like the 21st or something like that.
Hmm.
So it'll come out this Saturday. And so the information we have right now is the information we have right now.
Yes, yes, yes. So things could change. JoAnn could be like, actually, we're open. We're not closing that
Maybe
many
Walmart is
stores.
going to buy JoAnn's.
Yeah.
We never
Walmart.
know.
um, but yeah, so it's been about what, 3 weeks
Yeah.
now since the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and I was not that impressed by the Super Bowl. If I'm going to be honest, I'm glad that the Chiefs did not win.
Really? How
I'm tired
come?
of it. I'm just tired of the Chiefs. I'm just tired of Travis and Mahomes, and I don't
What
care.
about Taylor Swift?
I'm tired of Taylor Swift. Come on, let someone else win. I want to learn about someone else's girlfriend.
That's
I'm just kidding.
awesome.
But the Super Bowl's commercials also, they were just kind of weird.
I didn't see any of them because I didn't watch the Super Bowl that day. And the things that I have seen have come up in my feed. Like the thing that I saw was that Kanye, he just like did a whole video of him at the dentist. And he's like, I spent the whole budget for this commercial on getting new teeth. So here I am getting new teeth. That's what I saw.
He did that last Super Bowl too. He was like, I spent all my money on buying this ad, so
Hmm.
here's my low quality. Well, I guess it's still fine quality on my iPhone. Go buy my stuff.
Honestly, that is a commercial for iPhone in itself.
It is. But yeah, we have down right here, there was an interesting commercial that started off pretty strong, kind of calling out America and just the like the system overall when it comes to medical and pharmaceutical drugs, and also just calling out like the change for um, health,
Yeah.
right? But this ad was targeting overweight Americans.
Hmm.
Um,
So, I just watched this ad today whenever I did the research for this episode, and that my first takeaway was this ad knew how to speak to their target market.
mhm.
Overweight Americans can identify with the ideology of the system is broken, because most of them know that the system is what got them overweight in the first place because of all the chemicals added to food and like how society has been running for like the last 30 years. And so there are some rules that have been put in place when it comes to marketing medications, which is where um, a lot of people have, like the pharmaceutical industry has pushed back on this ad because um, it was really just narrating what the state of the union essentially is in pharmaceutical and overweight Americans. And so, um, because that, like him and hers, is like a marketing service rather than a special medication, teams at Hims and Hers were able to state that we are adhere to all applicable laws and regulations regarding advertising. So some of the things that they were worried about, like the pharmaceutical was worried about with Hims and Hers, is that they might not be following all these rules, such as like listing side effects or talking about um, different phrases that you have to say in commercials
Well,
about
one thing
medication.
that the Him and Hers commercial did was, like you said, with that target audience, was they were saying, yeah, screw the system. Let's try to find a different way, is almost what it felt like it was about to go to.
Yeah.
But what did they show?
So they
A
showed just like, uh,
little bottle,
please
right?
subscribe to our service. Yeah.
Hmm.
It wasn't
Hmm.
like it was like, through our service, you can get weight loss medications. Please subscribe to our service. It wasn't um, uh, advertising any specific route, just like you can come talk to a provider with us at any time and get um, access to these medications.
Yeah, which isn't like a big fu to the pharmaceutical people because they are the same people. It was like that Spider-Man meme where they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Hey, we're all doing the same thing."
yeah.
Um, and I think they did a great job. They played Childish Gambino's "This Is America." They had these stats put in place. They talked about how hard it is, and this is something that resonates to millions of people,
Hmm.
and then just for them to do that, but then it's like, wait, hold up, you can't just show us a drug, because they literally just showed like a little bottle.
Hmm.
It's like Hims and Hers or
It
whatever.
had their logo on it, the
Hmm.
services logo on it.
Yes. And without calling out, like you said, those side effects. And I think that's something that happens a lot with when it comes to any type of medications to help with weight loss.
Well, medications in general. Did you know that United States and New Zealand are the only countries in the world that allow for marketing of prescription drugs on television?
No. That
Uh,
is something new that read today that you wrote.
yeah. My follow up question is why, and why have the pharmaceutical companies reacted this way to having this commercial? It seems like a gaslighting ex boyfriend to me. And then in my notes, I put all caps. You didn't even include the side effects. It sounds like a narcissistic. How do you say that word?
Narcissistic.
Narcissistic ex boyfriend to me. So then the other
Yeah.
note that I wrote was FDA representatives are calling the ad a loophole that needs to find a solution. And I call it genius marketing.
And it is. It's in that in between. Uh, but it's also crazy to think that only two countries in the whole entire world allow for marketing on TV for drugs.
Yeah. I think
Um,
I think it's part of the system that's keeping America sick.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. I've seen a lot of commercials for Hims and Hers. I have been interested in Hims and Hers because it kind of cuts that I don't have to go to the doctor. I
Mm-hmm.
can get my drugs from someone else.
Yeah.
Um, and so, in that sense, like I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
um,
It is super dangerous
yeah.
because you're there. There's no doctor putting their hands on you and saying this, this, and this. They're not.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure they have the doctors have through those telemed
Hmm.
have certain things that they have to follow in order to uphold their licenses and stuff. So they probably have to give you a blood test every so often if they're going to put you on this med. They probably have to like go over the side effects with you.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that is totally appropriate. Um, and like I think that putting drugs in front of a person on TV and just in their
Hmm.
living rooms is part of the problem. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily like to me, I look at it and I think, oh, they didn't add the side effects, or they didn't say talk to your doctor, or the words that they're supposed to say. But in why do we have to see these drug commercials on our TV anyway?
Yeah.
It all it is capitalism. It's not like helping anybody like become like a healthier person. It's just like
Mhm.
selling you something that you could put in your body, and it may or may not work. I don't know. That's where I
And
am.
where it comes for me is like I'm someone who has had to have like I have pretty bad anxiety sometimes.
Mhm.
So I have had to get anxiety meds. I have had to do some SSRIs. Like I've had to do some antidepressants. Um, but my doctor was always so like, hey, actually, I want you to take some magnesium. I want you to add these, supplements to your diet
Yeah.
to help you, vitamin D and these type of things. He would never allow me just to get my Klonopin. I'd be like, listen, I know my Klonopin's gonna win. I mean, it's gonna help me,
Mhm.
So but we were able to like, he was able to help me manage my stresses without being reliant
Yeah.
on a pill that I could just pop that made me drowsy and go to sleep for the rest of the day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. And like you said, like not having someone I mean, someone can easily just write that script for you
Mhm.
and send you off. And that's exactly what I see this company doing.
Mhm.
Just from the advertisements that they show, which, if you do enough Google research, you think you know exactly what you want,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Or TikTok
and
research is that's pretty
yeah,
popular too.
yeah. And just kind of adding on to this is also just like on Snapchat, I get a lot of ads for Ozempic.
Yeah.
And I've like even the ads that I get for Ozempic are people who don't necessarily seem like they need Ozempic. Like they already look healthy.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of like I think that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I know that is very dangerous, and putting such a big topic that weighs heavy on people's minds is a dangerous way to get people to like, just fall back into that system that we're trying to fight against. Um and then I guess the last thing that I'm going to say too is that this ad was pretty long. It
Mhm.
was like about a minute long. Um and so it did a lot of people. I think that kind of shows that a lot of people saw it,
Yeah.
you know whether it was from the beginning or the middle or the end. I think it hit a lot of people. um
Yeah. Well, I don't have the answer, but I do think that um it's kind of crazy that America allows um medications to be advertised in general, and I think that that needs to be reevaluated because it's all it is doing is like making pharmaceuticals more a part of the capitalistic system, and I think that wellness is not found in capitalism. Like we look at that with cancer, like no one's ever going to cure cancer because it costs too much money on every
yeah.
to find a cure for it. So, or diabetes. Like people are going to be a diabetic for the rest of forever. I'm sure they could find the cure for it and figure out how to turn the genes on, but insulin makes pharmaceutical companies too much money for them to release that. So,
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest issue is that we've let this pharmaceutical monster
Mhm.
um, into our living rooms, and we need a way to figure out how to like get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, what I feel like ends up happening too is we see these ads, we hear all these side effects at the end of the ads, and then years go by, and then we hear the, have you or your family been affected by such and
Yep.
such? We hear the lawsuit come through. But, something that was major that happened with the opioid crisis is we held pharmaceutical drugstores and pharmacists accountable, and they got in really big trouble for giving people the amount of opioids that they did during that time and
Hmm.
causing a crisis. There's no reason why we shouldn't be holding, commercials at that same level, especially since our phones are constantly showing us ads
Yep.
in different formats. There's no reason that I should be getting as many Ozempic ads that I have gotten.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really ridiculous.
What is your Google search bar?
I know, like that's what shocked me the most too was like, I'm pregnant right now. I can't. What? Just kidding. um, so something that is also just as big as the Super Bowl are egg prices.
Yes, egg prices. That is also all over my feed. I keep having like videos of my feed of like backyard like chicken people being like, "Look at us. We have our own eggs and you don't have to you have to go to the grocery store and pay ridiculous prices," or like they mock like drug deals, and somebody like pulls up in a parking lot and gives you like 4 eggs. Be like, can you give me my next installment early? And they'll be like, you got the money? But it's just
Yeah,
eggs.
they're sitting on gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. And that's partly due to bird flu.
Yes.
Now there are two types of like bird flus. It's kind of like it's low it's basically either going to not kill or kill a lot of animals.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that we have right now is having a lot of animals die. It's got a high death rate, and it's highly transmissible between animals, causing farmers to have to kill, oh my gosh, did you see right here, hundreds of thousands of
Yes.
poultry in just the United States. This is affecting people worldwide.
Yes. So it says
Um,
159,307 978 poultry have been affected as of the article that I read, which was written on Valentine's Day.
yeah, so that was just last week, and I think whenever it comes to like anything, I was in middle school when the swine flu was going around,
Mm-hmm.
and the swine flu was going people to people, so that was kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
But the bird flu is not really anything that humans have to really worry about. We've only had 68 cases and only one death, according to the CDC. And but there is like, there's always like that scary little moment where if someone has the flu and then they also get the bird flu, it can create a new virus.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds scary. That sounds like Last of Us type of
Yes.
um
Or isn't that how we got COVID too?
yeah. Yeah. Once you start doing that zoo pathogenic to human
Mm-hmm.
pathogen, right? Um, but so as of February 12th, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics has said that egg prices have increased 15%.
Wow.
The index for, and this is quoting from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the index for eggs increased 15.2%. This was the largest increase in eggs index since June 2015, and it
Wow.
accounted for two-thirds of the total monthly food at home increase.
Wow.
So if you're buying eggs, it's definitely affecting your overall grocery haul.
Yeah.
Um, and that really sucks. I think I haven't bought eggs in about 2 weeks because I buy them at Sam's Club.
Oh yeah.
Think I bought like the 24 pack for about $6
Mm-hmm.
about 2, 3 weeks ago. And I saw on Facebook people were saying that that same 24 pack that I typically get are now like about $9 or $10.
Wow.
Um, so
And being pregnant, eating eggs is important.
yeah, it's got lots of protein. I love my hard boiled eggs.
And choline in it too. That's good for baby.
Yeah, yeah, and I like also like seeing sometimes they say you can only have them scrambled or whatever, but I have them over easy sometimes because I really like the
I won't
yolk.
tell you, doctor.
um, and I actually had watched a Vox video earlier this morning. I believe it was released a couple days ago, so it's pretty recent. And also someone who kind of keeps track of our local Game and Fish Commission.
Mm-hmm.
They have also like bird flu is nothing new. It's very common for waterfowl to have bird flu, and they keep track of that, especially during hunting season
Mm-hmm.
for ducks and stuff. They ask people to just, keep note of it and to let them know, and they kind of, they look at where that's all happening. But it typically would only hit like one species. They're seeing it hit multiple species of birds now,
Yeah.
and ducks. And also big cats. There's a local big cat area out here in Eureka Springs that actually got the Tiger Kings.
Well, and Carol Baskins.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's who I met, Carol Baskin. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever he says about Carol Baskin. Um, which are not nice words, but there was a bunch of big cats that died, and I want to say Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
like the whole big cat facility died. And as soon as a big cat gets bird flu, it's game over.
That's so sad.
It is. It is so sad. So Turpentine Creek, the Eureka Springs, Big Cats facility out here said that they are taking all types of caution, that they aren't accepting certain type of meat that's coming in, um, because they typically are feeding them chicken.
Yeah.
So they have to just be very careful with that.
If they cooked it, do you think it would go away?
You know, I don't know. I've kind of been wondering, and that something was like, um, if eggs are going up, how come chicken isn't?
Yeah.
You know.
Um, maybe because you can eat birds with bird flu, but you can't have their eggs.
Yeah, yeah, and birds with bird flu don't produce eggs.
Yeah.
So, and then they just end up getting the entire livestock just sick, and so
Well,
you're just not producing any eggs.
we live in the land of chickens. Like, I am affected by chicken houses almost every day of my life because the air in my general vicinity smells like chicken houses every time
Yes.
they open the doors and blow the air out. So, that's how many chicken farms we have out here. And I can imagine that it's very stressful for our farmer neighbors out here.
Yes. And well, now there have been some reports of cows. Arizona's uh, who is this? Arizona, their
Um,
government. I can't click on it. Why isn't it letting me?
Maricopa County. That's like
Who's
Phoenix area.
yes, but who posted this? Is it their USDA?
Um, it looks like EIN.gov.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So there's
I don't know what that
I
is.
think it's the yeah, it's the Department of Agriculture at the end right there.
Okay.
Um they announced that they got cows milk. It was found in milk.
Oh no.
Yes. So um that's so cows that get affected by bird flu, it actually doesn't hit them the same as it does humans or other animals like through the respiratory system. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually showing up in their tissue,
Yuck.
and that's what's resulting it to show up in milk. So there's always a tie back to raw milk for some weird reason in this.
I know. Every single one of our episodes, we talk about
Yes,
raw
I
milk.
think so. And so my raw milk drinkers, be careful because bird flu could be in it.
There's bird flu in your raw milk.
Yes. No, there could be. There's just one right now.
Mm.
But anyways, this is an interesting time, I think, with the bird flu, just because it is affecting us a lot with egg prices, and that affects our breakfast, and that affects our brunches with our friends.
And our birthday
Because
cakes.
yeah, we're literally. I was like, oh my gosh, how everything. It's gonna be really crazy, and um, I just
Did you know that in archaeology they can like study civilization based on like they know that if they were human or not based on chicken bones in the trash. Like that's how long we've been eating chickens.
That's funny. That's really funny to me. I could just see. Oh yeah, there's chicken bones. They're
Yeah, this was a
five
human
thousand
comment.
years old.
Yep. Hmm.
That is funny, and so it's sad. Chickens. Yeah, chickens are our friends, and we need them.
Yeah.
um,
And then
and
our next one is we want to talk about the Doge update, which I don't know if that's how you're saying it, if it's the same as the coin or like I think it's
I say it like that.
okay.
Yes, yes. I think that was Elon's.
Yeah,
I think he
I
wanted it.
think Elon just loves Doge, and so he invented it for the government too somehow.
Mhm. And it's been a headache to keep up with. Oh, the government just, cut off all of this funding or all of this funding, and then it's like, oh, actually, a judge blocked it. It's been a headache. It's been a
Yes.
headache. Um, and the so President Donald Trump, he implemented the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge, through an executive order on January 20th. February 11th, it was officially posted on the government website, and the purpose of Doge, according to the government website, is to restore accountability to the American public. The order commences a critical transformation of the federal bureaucracy by eliminating waste, bloat, and insularity by administration with power. Uh, with my administration will empower American families, workers, taxpayers, and our system of government itself. Now, the United States does spend trillions of dollars on things that probably we shouldn't be spending on.
Yes.
Um, and so, we do need change in that field, right? And Donald Trump isn't the first president to implement changes when it comes to wasteful spending. Um, as of this year, our government has $37 trillion of national debt.
Hmm.
How did we rack that up? I
Worse.
have no idea. Yeah, wars and wanting to build cool things, right? Um, and that just doesn't seem fair for us. I feel like the Committee of Oversight states that $2.7 trillion are lost just through improper payments. Um, so there's definitely some change that needs to happen there. But what has ended up happening is Doge kind of meant they kind of put themselves as like we're going to audit the government, but what they're doing is they're just I saw this quote from a Harvard uh interviewee that they had that said they're they're choosing to cut off arms for weight loss,
Yeah.
you know and through this we're seeing thousands of government jobs, and people who work for the government lose their jobs,
Hmm.
from scientists to VA workers in just the past month alone. Um, and when it comes to problems here, it's we talked about the Black Hawk and plane incident that happened that left I want to say, was it 68 people
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Um, and something that the FAA did release is that there was only one worker working the aviation towers when there
Yep.
should have been two.
Yeah.
And those had to do with some of those cuts that came in through the Department of Government Efficiency.
That and in general, air traffic controllers are very um it's a very hard trade to get into because you
It
have
is.
to learn
Mhm.
a lot and you have to be able to pass a bunch of different kinds of tests. And so I think that between those two things, that's probably
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. And I just recently had a friend join air traffic
Hmm.
control. And literally took him months to get into.
Yeah.
You have to pass a bunch of background checks. You have to, it's because it's a legit government job. It's not something that they just give and hand over to people. Um, and yeah, like we're making a little bit harder for people to, I guess, want to stay in the government.
Hmm.
I think with cuts like this. Um, so something about Doge that made it hard to do this research was they don't have an official government website.
Yeah.
Which as a journalist, I think is really ridiculous because we should be able to FOIA, we should
Yes.
be able to file freedom of information, to understand who's working there, how many employees are there,
What they're
blah blah
working
blah.
on.
Yes, because at the end of the day, our tax dollars are going to Doge,
Hmm.
and we should be able to see that information. It is not a security threat by no means. There are some things that people can block and say like, no, you shouldn't be able to get this information. But we also need to hold them accountable, even though they're saying that they're doing things to help us as a nation.
Yep.
Um, as of January 31st, though, the only way that you can find updates of Doge are, sorry, let me rephrase that. The only way you can find updates for Doge are on Twitter or X. Um,
Which seems like a conflict of interest, if you ask me.
yeah. So, Elon Musk, who is the head person of Doge, makes all his posts on his own social media. And on January 31st, they claimed that they have saved $1 billion in savings. And just 100 of them came from like DEI related
Hmm.
terminations. So there was a moment in government where they created some roles to help with diversity, inclusion, and all of that. Which, they kind of gave jobs, I think, easier roles to kind of handle, like, think about like the moments that you have at work that are like fun,
Yeah.
team buildings and stuff. There's typically a DEI person behind that.
Hmm.
Um, that does not mean that that person was a DEI person, which is could be a woman, could be a vet, could be a black person, could be a Hispanic person, could be a minority, um, could be a person with a disability. DEI covers a wide range of people. But that was also just kind of some of the talks of Doge, which was all of this. But this last week, so the week of February 10th, there was a giant cut in the nuclear sector in the Department of Energy, that laid off 1,200 to 2,000 people.
Yeah.
These are people who handle our nuclear weapons,
Wow.
and just this morning they called them back.
Wow. Okay. So
So,
people who handle the nuclear weapons are needed for some reason.
mhm, for some reason, no, um, and I think that just kind of shows why the United States has all these checks and balances and why it's takes such a long process to get rid of things.
Hmm.
Doge is new, but uh I agree with what the purpose is.
Well, I think in general, when you take over a new job, any job, not just the
Yeah.
government, but like there's probably a reason why the person that had that job before you was doing it. So it takes a learning curve of figuring out,
Hmm.
um, doing it once yourself and figuring it out. Which I
Yeah.
mean, Trump has been in presidency before, so he kind of has done some of this work before. So, but going and cutting everything,
Yeah.
um, may not be the smartest move when it comes to like just getting started. But
Hmm.
I mean, um,
Yeah. And I think it's like kind of like that overarching, we have all this $1 trillion of debt.
mhm,
Why don't you just, to stop the bleeding, just put band-aids and get rid of the things that are bleeding,
yeah,
like and not realizing that that comes with like real, effects to the United States, to local municipals, to states. One major thing that I guess we'll be seeing will be the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to change some things there and cut some things there. But I think it's also very important that we 1,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Put 1,000 people in a room, put 1,000 people in your house, put 1,000 people, in your car. And this is just the nuclears. The VA cut 1,000 people last week.
Yeah.
Um, and I just, there should be a better process. I don't think that it should be this easy to just fire um, hundreds of thousands of people across the United States. Some things that we could see some cuts in are like things like Head Start that help parents of low income, single moms with children get affordable health care. And these
Or
are things,
childcare,
yeah,
basically.
child care.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. These are things that are laid out in Project 2025. I did take some time to read some parts of it last week. And some of the reasoning to cut Head Start from Project 2025, people who wrote that, were things like a Head Start has a lot of, let me see here, like traumatic events and abuse could happen to children who are going to Head Start.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, we shouldn't be funding something that is leading for, kids being abused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, they're like, so just get rid of it. Where it's like, oh, well, maybe we need to take a step back and figure out how we can address these problems and, these issues, because Head Start does provide and should, in theory, create a better environment to help Americans.
Yeah. Well,
So
it helps Americans be more productive um, capitalists.
exactly, isn't that what we want at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day? um,
I feel
so
like that. I feel like that ties into all of like our entire report today. Is like
yeah.
the commercial where like overweight people are not your typical capitalist society members. They aren't they performing, or they don't look like you're supposed to for a capitalist American.
Mm,
Then the what else? The Head Start. If you can't go to work, then you can't be a capitalist American.
mm-hmm.
So like I feel like um everything going on in society right now is just because capitalist America. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of like the thing, like well, if you're going to fight for capitalism, or if you're going to try to want capitalism, then make it better for us.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
how am I supposed to go to work if I can't find affordable childcare? So, I'm
Why do
just
we allow
how can I
medicines
buy
to
my
be on
eggs?
TV? Capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I can't buy my $10 eggs if I can't go to work, so I'm just going to start my own farm, have my own chickens, take care of my own kids.
Then you won't be a capitalist anymore.
As a big FU, yeah, to everything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Doge is an interesting one. We've actually been keeping up with it, I think, since it kind of started. Um, and it's
Yeah.
it's interesting to see everything kind of play out.
The thing that's in my feed the most is just like little um Elon's son in the White House. That's
Yeah.
like in my feed all over the
Shut your
place.
mouth.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's also interesting to see Elon Musk by our president all the time.
With his child,
Yeah.
just like at work.
Nothing wrong with that. I
Which
love that.
no wonder he doesn't need Head Start.
Yeah,
He just
exactly.
brings his kid to work with him.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, that's kind of our episode for today. We do like to try to end it off in a lighter note, but we didn't
We
we
did
didn't
we did
actually
just
end.
sad news today.
Yeah, we did sad news. Um,
Overweight America can't buy eggs. Then they can't send their kids to Head Start. Sorry.
sorry. Hopefully next month we can have something more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I should have put in a fluff piece at the end. Maybe you know what? This is a good opportunity for people to send in their comments on what they think that we should end off with next month.
yeah,
Something lighthearted, please.
yeah. It'll be March by then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope that you had a great Valentine's weekend.
Yes,
And that that everybody knows that they are loved. And if
yes.
they don't feel loved, I'm sorry. Don't watch Super Bowl commercials. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, that is, we are all, that's where we'll leave it. We'll say, how about you go out and make the story about somebody feeling loved,
Yes.
and then report back to us your story so that we can spread the love.
Yeah. But we also want to make this as interactive as possible.
Yeah,
I know I do.
I do.
and anything, you could disagree with us. You can add some notes. You can talk about how, the most latest report says this or that. Um, and yeah, I'm always glad to be here. And I really hope that you guys go and spread some love and let us know how that goes.
Yeah, and
But do it
maybe
safely.
next time there might be another life in this world.
Yes. Oh, hopefully. There will be. Uh,
Okay, well, until next month,
yes.
we'll be racking up those news stories. So, talk to you later. Okay, love you. Bye.